video we have a pig farmer turned serial killer who murdered 50 prostitutes. He's also just happens to be from my hometown of British Columbia, Canada, Vancouver. We are going to be talking about Robert Willy Pickton. Here's a picture of him on the screen, I'm sure. Now, I don't want to waste too much time. Just he was a drug and sex addict right out of rehab and came to Willy looking for jobs. Willy would give him odd jobs on the farm, help him make some money. But then one day Willy went up to him and said, "Hey, you want to get a hooker?" His cox was watching his TV in the corner of the room. He said, "No, I don't want to, Willy. I don't want to get a hooker." Then for some odd reason, Willy started to show Andy what he does to hookers with a knife and positioned himself beside the bed and pretended that their hair was here, and he took their knife and was slicing it. This is how demented this guy is. He's crazy. He then took Andy to the barn where he keeps his prisoners and shows Andy where he hangs the girls and then cuts them like this. It's a very disgusting thing. Willy thought and preyed on Andy's addiction and how, because he was so low, he was at the lowest point of his life, Willy preyed on it and wanted someone involved in it with him, because Willy knew that Andy could take the fall for him. Andy still said no. Willy kept pushing him and pushing him and pushing him. Then one day Andy came to work, and Willy had two big guys there. They said, "Andy, would you like to come into the trailer with us?" Andy says, "Okay," thinking it's a talk. They beat the shit out of this guy for 10 minutes, leaving him bloody, as a message to, I guess, stay quiet. This is where stuff starts to get very interesting. There was a female named Ellingson, and she was Willy's friend. She had been kicked out of homeless shelters for using and abusing drugs. She then started living/working with Willy to try and make some money. Willy was giving her drugs. Willy was rich. He liked to help people, he said. One night, they went downtown, east side, to pick up a hooker. Willy wanted to have a threesome. So what happens? They then go back to Willy's Coquitlam farm. He tells his friend Lynn Ellingson, "Go wait in the bedroom, take your clothes off, I'll be right there." Lynn is waiting 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. There's no Willy. So she slides out of the room, peeking around, just peeking around. Goes through the house. There's no sign of Willy. Where's Willy? She goes into the last room. There's some of Willy's clothes, and there's the girls, the hookers' clothes right there. She's naked, obviously, but there's still no sign of Willy and the girl. So she looks out a window and she sees Willy's barn light on. So she goes to check it out. Why is Willy's barn light on right now, right? She opens the door slowly. It creaks open, slips inside behind the door. When she looks up, she is horrified, absolutely horrified at what she sees. She sees a female that she was just in the car with, hanging by a hook in her back, and she is dead. She is sliced up. She sees a fridge. She goes to the fridge. The body parts that are missing are in the fridge, including the head, an arm, a leg, a hand, and a foot. There was a gentleman named Ross Caldwell that Lynn ended up telling the story to. He told it to police. Police still couldn't do anything because these were all drug users. They all have bad credit. They don't have. Their word doesn't mean it doesn't hold a time in court. Another officer on the case, Officer Hartley, then convinced Lynn to do a polygraph. She kept saying, apparently during the lie detector test, she just kept saying, "It was yellow, it was yellow, it was yellow." And the police later realized what she was saying by "it was yellow" is she's